Good evening, this is Kuro. Got something a little different for you guys today. Going to do a lesson specifically on spotting and dealing damage. This is a discussion I'm seeing going on in my Discord, and I'm going to use a couple recent videos to really drive home the mechanics behind it and how to make this work for you. So starting with a video with my Haragumo. I muted the sound just so you're not hearing the previous commentary. So what I'm doing right now, I'm specifically trying to get out here to spot the enemy team, and to do that I need to, the enemy team spawns up here just like my team spawned here. They're all coming basically down the 1 and 2 line, so I need to get around this island, because if I stay here I won't actually spot them until they're right up here at the cap, and that's frankly too late. Any radar cruisers and stuff have already got too close and they're able to dominate the cap. So that's why it's so important that a DD get out there and actually spot the enemy as far out as they can. And in this case that means breaking this island chain here on the 3 line and spot the ships out here. Now, in the case of my Haragumo, I am not interested in picking a fight with a destroyer. I'm looking for battleships and cruisers to shoot up. So I am sailing out here. All I'm looking to do, there's one battleship, and I'm just going to keep spotting. Now what's going to happen here is, as I spot, you already see my teammates back here are shooting. These guys are going to start shooting back at my team, and you're also going to end up with these guys getting inside the surface detection range on these battleships. And what's going to happen when that happens, I am technically no longer required to spot, so I can shift from providing vision for my team to dealing damage. I'm specifically pulling this Haragumo build because this is one of the major damage dealing destroyers in the game, and if you're not hammering out tons of damage every game, you're not doing your job with this destroyer. You're not really taking caps, like you're not really contesting caps to take them. With this DD, you are looking to influence the battle by basically burning everything down on the enemy team, and the enemy is basically no longer to hold the enemy cap from you guys. Hey, is monsters done? Hold on, I timed this wrong apparently. We've got to reset Monsters Incorporated, because that's apparently the thing to watch today. Okay, baby, it's going. Well, hell's bells. Disney Plus, why can't you just have a replay? Instead, I've got to sit here and waste seconds of my life rewinding the entire thing. It's 2020. We don't have a replay button. Come on now. Anyway, back to murdering things. So, this is basically the 2 stages of doing my job as a Haragumo. I'm looking to, initially come out here, provide the vision, provide the spotting, and then once this handoff occurs where my team can start spotting for themselves, or in the next segment of the video I'll talk about spotting through your smoke, the tricks and how to do that, I can shift into damage dealing mode, and you're gonna see me, I'm pushing out here, and sorry, I'm basically talking about somewhat of the same things that I'm talking about in the commentary. Let me see if, I don't think I pause it that long, so we'll just sit here and wait. But while I'm doing that, the idea of how I want to influence the battle is through damage. The biggest way to do that is with Haragumo. My build is dot damage, so I'm running a Demolition Expert build, so I am looking to get a fire on this guy, get a fire on this guy, then I'll come back, see if I can get a second fire on the Musashi, and then try to get a second fire on the Iowa, constantly trying to shoot at the ship that is least on fire, simply because when I do that, I will it's easier for me to get a fire on a ship that has more modules open to receiving a fire. So I see smoke up here. I'm start getting shot at, so I instantly just use my smoke. At this point, the enemy team is inside their surface spotting range with my rune and Azumo. My team's able to provide the vision as I shift fully into damage dealing mode. Now you can see right here that the Iowa actually was just outside of it. The Musashi, again, he's dropping off, so apparently I'm lying. They're not fully outside of my range, but when these guys are spotting, or when they shoot, I'm able to spot them through my smoke screen. And when that happens, I have a 20-second window to work on these guys. And that's pretty much what I'm doing here, just trying to rack up as many hits as I can, get the fires. As soon as I get the fire, you see me transfer over to the Musashi. While all of this is going on, I'm angling at the likely area where we have enemy torps that would come from, which I've got a DD in the cap, so I'm assuming that the enemy DD was up here. I've got my torpedoes out. Again, dot damage with the flood, and I'm looking. What I'm doing here, the Musashi, he blew his damage control party, so he's got an invulnerability period where he's not able to receive damage. So I am just following up right here to get the unrepairable fires on the Musashi, and I'm just going to bail on this. Under 5 minutes in the game, I'm already up to almost 90k damage, and that's how effective this ship could be. I guess Musashi actually blew his damage control there. I'm just going to kite back, get another unrepairable fire right here. And now this Musashi's in trouble. I'm bringing my aim down, trying to get the fire on the bow of the Musashi. If I do that, he's probably going to be going down. The Minotaur, he's a threat to me. Just kiting away, angling. With this build with AFT instead of Concealment Expert, I've got plenty of gun range to do what I need to do. Yes, baby. Yes. Well, okay. So this is one of the videos that I selected just to try to discuss, you know, the handoff, when you should be spotting, when you should be dealing damage as a destroyer. I picked the Harugumo again just because it is supposed to be primarily a damage dealing destroyer, not a capping DD. You know, that's pretty much it here. So gonna go ahead and pause this video. The next video that I have is specifically going over spotting through my smoke screen. I'll give you a run through before I do this. So right away, the situation, if you haven't watched this video before, I have a Kutuzov that is just smoked up right here in this smoke screen. I've dumped my torpedoes on the smoke screen, basically either to push the Kutuzov out of the smoke or kill him, one of the two. And what I'm looking to do is, Daring is notorious for being able to spot through its smoke screens. You've got so many smokes that basically anytime these battleships shoot, you should be able to smoke up and shoot them, because you're going to spot them through your smoke screen, and you can do damage. So you're gonna see me. I'm looking in. He shoots. Boom, smoke screen. Here we go. Look at my teammates. They're far enough away they can't spot this Montana. So I'm relying on myself spotting this Montana through the smoke and just racking up the damage that way. getting, you know, some decent fire chance there. 2 fires on the Montana. The torpedoes are cooking. If I kill this Kutuzov, that means I can open water with the Montana and go from there. So Kutuzov does go down, and again, popping right out of my smoke screen, because if this, I don't want this Montana going dark. This guy's got so many fires on him right now. He's a frickin' barbecue. I just got another fire on him. I want this guy to stay spotted and burn as long as possible. But I do have another battleship that's coming out, and again, want to keep the fire pressure on these enemy ships. You see, I'm going to transition over to the Pommern, because the Pommern, he doesn't have any fires burning on him. I want to have those fires going. Montana may have actually repaired over here, and you know, if he did repair, he's got the at least 30-second invulnerability period, so I'm not really doing anything by shooting at the Montana when I can't light a fire, but I can light a fire on this guy. So that's me changing my targets, and by doing this, I'm giving myself more consistent dot damage, better, you know, the longer I have a fire burning on the ship, naturally the more damage I'm going to deal over the course of the game, the more pressure I'm going to have on the enemy team. That's actually an unrepairable fire on the Montana, just shells catching up to the guy, and he's gonna burn a bit. He spotted through the smoke because he took a shot at me, and I'm just gonna let the Montana go for now. And again, just focusing on this guy here. My team, he's close enough to my team. My team's providing the vision. I am just an additional damage source. Now, this is particularly nice to do, because this guy is pinned in. He has to angle to the Slava, the Montana, the FDG. He can't, you know, angle towards me, because he shows broadside to all of these ships down here. He'll be gone in seconds. So where this type of spotting comes in handy is these situations here, where I am able to get in here, say this island's not in the way, be able to throw torps down here and create a crossfire situation. That's why I say that when you're in your DD, the best place for you isn't always directly in front of your team. Sometimes you've got to be there because terrain limitations. Sometimes it's nice for you to be there because you'll spot torpedoes and give your teammates a better opportunity to dodge that damage. But in general, your best location is off to the side of your team. So you can take this sort of position where you can get, you know, these crossfire torpedoes, particularly if the enemy team starts pushing into your teammates. You can just nuke these guys right off the planet, either with your torpedoes or switching to AP and using AP, which has higher DPM than your HE does typically. So all of this goes into, you know, how to position your ships to deal damage. This is what you want to look at positioning wise. You want to be out here on the flanks where you can really work these guys over and create a big nightmare for them as they you know, do whatever they're gonna do. In this case, the Montana, he's back up. We finished off, you know, everything here. We're just going to run this Montana down and ruin the rest of his game. And, you know, that's just good DD work right there. So with that in mind, I will bring my lovely piece of artwork down and basically just put a diagram right in front of you that you can freeze and look at. And here's our target ship. You know, DD initially coming through, again, you want to get around, you know, the island obstructions or anything that might obscure your vision. It could be, you know, an enemy smoke screen or something like that, where you know, the enemy DD has laid a cloud of smoke, you know, right in here, blocking the view of, you know, your ships back here. You know, if you're not out here on a different line of sight angle, this guy would be able to shoot your team without, you know, without being detected in some cases and get free damage. That's not good for your team. So by getting that difference of angle, it's harder for the enemy team to create those situations where they can free farm you or your teammates without you guys being able to respond. But when your team is able to provide the line of sight, that's important, because the line of sight's important because if this guy doesn't have line of sight either from you or from somebody else spotting him, his DPM drops down. So you're just turning that damage faucet down just that much more every time one of these ships isn't able to shoot at a target. You know, for whatever reason, the guy goes behind an island or something like that, you guys lose vision. That's, you know, you're not bleeding the enemy dry as fast as you potentially could. Now, as soon as your team is able to provide that line of sight, that starts, you know, opening up your options to deal damage to this target. Ideally getting inside their smoke firing range, so if they do get smoked up, they're not able to farm your team from inside smoke. That can be dangerous. Some of these ships have pretty small smoke firing ranges if they have radar, if they have access to radar. A lot of times it can be as simple as, I got spotted in my smoke, I know a DD is nearby, I press the I spot you button, and you know, you're going to get shot at. But that's one of those things that goes with knowing your particular radar threats, that kind of thing. So and again, ideally you see the enemies can angle directly at your teammates. That reduces a lot of the damage your team can deal to this guy. But if you're out here on the angle, your AP has is more likely to be effective, but also your torpedoes have that really nice broadside aspect of the ship where it's much harder for these guys to dodge your torpedoes and avoid damage completely. And if they do happen to dodge your torpedoes, they've left themselves so exposed to your teammates that, I mean, you should technically be getting assisted damage, in my opinion, because you've basically set that damage up for your team. And in competitive, that's something that good DD players will call, that, hey, I am going to make this target turn to dodge my torpedoes because he's got hydro or whatever. And by letting your battleship know, you know, a minute 45 seconds beforehand, he can set up and be waiting for that shot. Just for the moment where this guy is vulnerable, he'll break the shot and he'll be able to do some devastating damage to the target. Teamwork makes the dream work. Anyway, gonna cut this video off. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them below. Hopefully I covered everything, and I will talk to you guys later. Have a good night.